This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
You know, when people reach out and ask for help and it's something as simple as, hey, shipping her a box of tampons.
The one thing about this girl is she's never asked me for anything. She may have hinted about tampons.
It is the 31st of December, 2020, the last day of 2020. What some would say it was a horrible year. We'll get into some of the ups and downs of 2020 in just a little bit. My name is Corey Winfield.
Marney Winfield.
Sure it's not Marney Liston?
I am positive.
Positive. And this is the 217 Recovery Podcast. Welcome. Thank you for listening. Marney and I go over our day, our week, or whatever is on our mind and how our recovery is going. I have 2 years. She has a year and a few months clean. And this is how we do it. You know, this is what keeps us sober. And if it helps, cool. But I do appreciate you listening. Marney, I think you do as well.
I do.
But, you know, we do this kind of for ourselves, though. And back in 2019, when I just got out of treatment, I decided, all right, I gotta do something that reminds me of my career in radio and something I can do for fun. I knew I didn't want to go back into radio, but I knew I had to do something. And this has really helped. And at first I was afraid. And I've always, when I was in radio and realized that, okay, I have a problem, I didn't want anyone to know. Right. So it was a huge step for me to just come out and say, yeah, you know, I had a substance use disorder. Alcohol was my problem. And here I am today, 2 years. So
Absolutely. Look at us now.
And a year ago, I remember we did a podcast and we did the top 5, bottom 5 moments of 2019 at that point. And I kind of thought about doing that again, but I kind of thought about, I don't really want to rank them.
Yeah.
You know, we could just go through some things. It doesn't need to be 5 things. And I don't know if I had 5 bottom moments.
Right.
I mean, there were a couple things. I mean, Tyrone's incident was probably, a huge setback. And that would have been obviously up there, but the babies, that would have been up there, but that's a crazy thing. And I don't know if we've really talked about it too much on here.
No, we haven't.
But it was a blessing in disguise, and everything does happen for a reason, and God won't give you more than you can handle. And as much as I want, especially like with 217 Recovery, I want us to do everything right now. But that would be impossible. Like, can you imagine? I would be so overwhelmed. It would be insane. If we had everything that we wanted right now today, my head would explode. And God knows that,
Yeah.
We've stepped into helping people a little bit more. And when they need rides to treatment or home from treatment, we can provide that for them. We teamed up with Hope Not Handcuffs, which is a fan program, Families Against Narcotics, here in northern Michigan. So we're doing that. And, as much as I want to move to the next step in recovery housing, I personally can't take that on myself, and like I want it all now, but at the same time, I understand that, it has to work and has to work itself out and it has to work its way in. But, a year ago today, if I would have told myself, when I build that time machine, go back and go, hey man, just hang in there, bro. Like it's going to be all good. You're going to have a sweet studio that you've always wanted. And, all these things are going to start happening for you. Just keep going. Don't give up. But yeah, like when we first started getting together and falling in love, we did have some good news. And I know I've talked about that on the podcast before, that, I was going to be a father, and was very excited. That probably was one of the top moments. It was a great feeling. It was awesome. Unfortunately, things happen.
Yeah.
Which, it's kind of a normal thing. Not the only ones to have to go through this. And Yeah, and that was a tough moment too, and I know it was for you as well. I'm not going to speak for you or anything like that, but it was tough. But at the same time, me being sober and me being willing to have acceptance for the situation, and there was nothing that we could have done. It wasn't because we were out partying, or it wasn't, it was nothing that we did that caused it. It was just one of those things. So, having faith is something that I've learned to trust a lot more, trust in God, and things are going to happen on His time and the way He wants them to. It's not my job to question why. Just go, okay, well, what can I control in that situation? And some of the top moments, though, I don't know which one. I mean, well, being married was amazing. Bottom 5 moment, it could have been when I had to say my vows.
That's not a bottom 5.
It was horrible. It was so, and I apologize. The movie's not done yet, but it will be soon. And you can see me choke up because all the hot peppers I was eating made me cry a lot. But no, the wedding was definitely top moment. The proposing to you was up there. I was so nervous about that. I didn't know when to do it, where to do it, and then I realized, it worked out. It worked out great. Everything's pretty much worked out the way it was supposed to. It's just amazing. Another top moment that I was thinking about in the shower. A lot of thinking happens in the shower with me. Is leaving the job at the treatment center that I'd worked at. And it's not because it was a bad place to work at. It's not because of the people, anything like that. No, I enjoyed the people that I worked with, and I enjoyed what I did. But it's just the fact that I wasn't afraid to take that leap of faith, almost. To know that, it's kind of cool. I like being around, and I like being able to help people. But at the same time, I'm doing this over here, and this over here is what I really want to do, and I really think I can help more people. And just that trust of, okay, well, this is time and this is what I need to do. Without any guarantees that, hey, this is going to work out and you're going to be fine. I have no guarantee of that. I still don't, but I'm still willing to put my faith in God that this is what I'm supposed to be doing now. And I don't know, a couple weeks after that, I ended up getting a call, which if I wouldn't have stepped away from that job, that position, then I wouldn't have been able to help these other people out. So, it all worked out how it was supposed to. But again, just to have that sense of, okay, this isn't where I really belong, and I left. It was good terms, I feel. But just to have that faith, I guess you would have to say, just that faith that, okay, everything's going to be okay. And just to do that, for me, that's a top moment. And like I said, has nothing to do with, I left that job, it sucked. It has nothing to do with that. It's just more about me and believing and having faith in myself and, the plan that God has for me. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, the whole thing about God having a plan for us, I believe in that 100%. I think everything does happen for a reason. And I think all the bad things in my life, brought me to where I am today. Like, we talk about that a lot, that, our, upsets in life and our struggles and what have you have, as bad as they were, they had to have happened for a reason. They got me to where I am right now. And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Yeah, for those of you that went with the story that Corey was talking about, when I'll kind of go into a little more detail, because I think it's good. I think it's good to talk about it because it was my biggest probably upset of 2020. Yeah, so we got the great news that we were expecting, and that was amazing news. I was hoping, because it was funny because we were kind of in a good spot in our relationship, but not a secure 100% spot in where we were going as a couple. And I loved him and I thought he loved me, but I wasn't quite sure. That's a whole nother thing. But no, they say that women use more words than men like to, but in terms of endearment and what have you. But no, so we found out we were expecting, and it was I gave him the news, and I was like, well, first I said, you're going to be a great father. And you said, you mean like one day? And I was like, no, 9 months, what have you. And no, and he was on board 100%. And I was excited about that. And unfortunately, as many women know, it was, the pregnancy wasn't viable. And like Corey said, and like my doctor said, it was nothing wrong that we did. It was just nature's way. It happens all the time. In fact, it happens more than women talk about it, than the world actually talks about it. Miscarriages do happen. And it was a sad time because, we had gotten excited about it, and we had kind of established our relationship again. It's cured like what we were, and then we got this news, which was a total, it was an upset. But, he was amazing, and in all reality, when I sit back and look at it, I know for a fact that even though it was, the baby didn't make it, it brought us closer together. And it kind of made us realize that we did care for each other on a level of, of spending the rest of our lives together. And so, yeah, we're still trying and, not giving up on the idea at all. And it's something that it's painful to talk about, but I think it's important to talk about it because it's made me stronger. It's made us stronger. That's one of those things, like, it's a challenge that when you're in a relationship with someone is how is that person going to react when things aren't freaking all amazing and awesome? And are they going to be there to support you? And are they going to tell you everything's going to be okay? And he was that for me. And, I tell him that all the time. I love you more every day because I do. But it was hard. That was my biggest pitfall of 2020 for sure.
Yeah, it took me a while to actually accept it. I remember we heard the news and like COVID had just started going crazy, and like I wasn't allowed to go to the doctor with you, and I that really upset me. But I had to play it off like it was. I'm cool with it, and then this doctor tells you, oh, no, there's no heart. There's actually two of them. There's going to be twins, and, that's nothing, and I'm like, no, I don't believe it. Who does he know? Like, what does he? Yeah. And so you need a second opinion.
A little bit of denial there. But.
Yeah, so then you went and you did get a second opinion. But it was tough. And, I had to be there for you. I knew that. And I knew it was probably as tough as I thought it was on me. It was probably double or triple on you. Mm-hmm. So, I just had to just think, okay, well, it happened for a reason. And looking back at it, I don't think it was time, but I still think it was a sign from God to go, you two belong together. This is what you can have one day. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we both want. So. But I just think that it was a sign from God because I was being stubborn. I was like, well, you got to have more sober time. I didn't want to be like causing any relapses or anything. And, I just wanted to make sure that your focus was on your sobriety. And I didn't want any part of like breaking that up. And it was hard to not say I love you back when you would say I love you. I'm like, oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. And I know that drove you crazy. But I was like, man, I want to tell her, but I can't. And here I am committed to this sober living home that I told them I would do that for a year. And, Tyrone will tell you, like I would always beat into the guy's head, if you commit to something, do it. If you don't want to do it, say no, but if you say yeah and you committed to something, you got to do it, stick it out, do it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And then stupid stuff happened at the house, and then it was like, all right, well, I don't have to do this. So, perfect timing, you know, like, and all that stuff went down. It was just like, again, it was a sign from God. Like, too many things happened in there that on a normal day wouldn't have happened. And here all this stuff's just like blam happening. And I told you about it. You're like, well, I can't say I'm upset. And that was the best news I've heard, you know, like you were happy, and I wanted you to be happy about it. So I'm like, hey, I can go wherever now. I don't have to be stuck here. I can move to Traverse City. And so I did, you know, and that was kind of a leap of faith too. It's just like, you know, and you know, I was like going to school full time, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? And you know, they don't call me Mr. Billionaire Winfield for nothing.
Well, I mean, and another thing that I think about a lot with that challenge is I was in very early sobriety at that time. And to have something like that happen and not pick up over it showed me that I was on the right path, that I was doing it right this time, you know, that this was for real. And I did not once think about picking up. And that would have been one of those things where this is a for sure reason. Like, I could do this right now, and I could turn right back around, and everyone would be like, I get it. It's okay. Like, wow. That, you know, you know, I drink too if I was her kind of thing.
Like free pass.
Oh, hell no. I'm sorry, but like, I know that I'm never going back to that life ever again, regardless. Doesn't matter. And if I can get through that, and if I can get through anything, you know, so, and life is amazing. Everything is awesome. And I mean, if I think about, I was talking to you today in the car, and I was like, I kind of feel guilty when all these people are saying like 2020 was so terrible. I cannot join that bandwagon, because all in all, I think when I look at it, 2020 was one of the best years of my life that I've ever had. You know, if you take the life chart, you know, all pieces of you that, you know, in your life that control kind of like your you today. So you got, you know, job, you got family, you got love, you got finances, you got employment. Every single one of those pieces on like my chart are like glowing full. You know, I got a promotion in my job that I love, having to do with helping people and addiction. Obviously my health is amazing. I've never been healthier. And then my family, with the COVID, I've been able to spend more time with my family members than I have in years and years and years. And I even told you I'm closer with my sister now than I ever have since I was a child, even probably more than when I was a child. You know, I do have money in my bank account. My rent is paid. I have a roof over my head. I'm married to the most amazing man in the world who cares about me and supports me and, you know, keeps me safe and, you know, loves me unconditionally. And like, I don't know, I got it all. So I'm not complaining about 2020. I can't.
Yeah. Again, you know, for some people, sure, you know, it was a bad year. And if somebody wasn't stable in their recovery, I don't know. I mean, maybe they just weren't as stable or as confident as they should have, or they were overconfident maybe and thought they were too stable, because you can look for an excuse to drink and anything. And like you said, you had a free pass almost. Like people would have been like, oh, I get it. Yeah, it's fine. But you didn't want to live that way anymore. And it wasn't acceptable to you. So I kind of look at COVID the same way. Like, yeah, it's unfortunate that people are forced to isolate. And if they're not up to game with that, you know, like, oh, I better go drink or I can go drink. Well, then they weren't ready, you know, and it was just like, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, you can blame COVID for it, but at the same time, I don't know, you know, I'm sure some people lost their job and, bad things were happening. Not everybody had the good time of 2020. I understand that. I get that. But for us is what we're saying, and Marnie just said it for her. And for me, 2020 was great. 217 recovery. We got our 501c3 nonprofit status through the IRS, which means people can donate money to us and write it off on their taxes. If you want to donate $1 billion, $1 million, hey, it's up to you. So that was a very big step, and we can also apply for grants. The transportation thing is coming along. I'm married, obviously, as well. And I have like a new family now, which is pretty cool. So I don't know. For me, like you, Marnie, 2020 was great. I didn't drink, not one drop. I didn't smoke a joint. I didn't do any acid, no cocaine, nothing.
Right.
Nada. And I'm having a great time.
That's right.
Made a bunch of shirts.
We did make a bunch of shirts.
Sold some hats.
Yeah.
The governor got a picture with some guys wearing our 217 recovery hats.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Wrote a letter to my dad.
Yes.
He should have got that, yesterday. He should have got that.
Oh, wow.
So. We'll see. And you asked me before when I wrote the letter, I think this was before I wrote it, if I wrote the letter and I sent it to him and I didn't get a response, how would I feel? And I thought, it's not really about getting a response. And I don't remember what I said, but it was probably some hard ass thing like, yeah, man, I don't even care. But to tell you the truth, if I don't get a response, will I be hurt? Sure, I will be. And I'm not sure what kind of response I even want. Maybe a text. I think if it rang and it said his name, I don't know if I'd answer it. You'd have to say, honey, answer it.
Probably.
Because I'd be like, I don't know. But I sent him wedding photos. And I actually had a dream. That's crazy. I'm just now remembering it. That I got a message from the UPS people that the package was damaged on the way there. And that the note inside was damaged. And they said, sorry, but it was a really nice note. We couldn't put it back inside. And they said, like, the pictures were broken. I need a dream analyst.
I was going to say.
Hit me up on the email. Hit me up on Facebook if you're a dream analyst. Let me know what that means, because that was weird. Then I remembered it right now. Yeah, I remember because I woke up, too, and I was just like, oh, my God, like, what's going on? But, yeah, the package made it, but the note inside the letter that I had written them was... Yeah, but they wrote me a good note, though. Didn't make it. Sorry, Marnie's in the studio. She's sitting in the comfortable guest chair, and she just whipped out her big rock. I'm not talking about crack. I'm talking about her wedding ring.
I just got it back today from the jeweler, so I'm admiring it.
Yeah, guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, when you get married, so you get the engagement ring, and then you have to get a wedding band. Yeah, so don't think you're done at the engagement ring. No, you can still get about another $600-700 invested. It's not as bad, but my advice though to guys who aren't married: let her pick it out. Like, you don't have to buy it right there in front of her, but make sure she's got that ring that she wants. And that was advice. I don't know if I read it somewhere or someone told that to me, but I thought, that's damn good advice. And they had said, she's got to wear it the rest of her life, make sure she likes it. You don't want to go buy some ugly ass ring and be like, here you go, I think it's pretty. Oh, thanks. No, take her, she'll pick out some, just do that way. That way she's going to be happy with it. And I don't know, Marnie, you're extremely happy with your ring.
Yes.
Yeah, so had to get it soldered.
Yeah.
And then dipped again in the white gold or whatever. But yeah, so she got that back today, and she was all excited about it. And
yeah,
it's fitting. Might as well do that in 2020 as well.
That's right.
Yeah, looks beautiful, babe.
Thank you.
And yeah, I will get the wedding video up soon. I'm not sure when. Probably not tonight.
Probably not tonight, no. Well, you can ring in the new year with it.
With the video?
Yeah. Just have it, in the beginning of the year.
Oh, yeah. I'll do it when my wife's away.
Okay.
And I'll get caught up in other things.
Right.
That's the problem. I sit on the computer, I read an email, and I'm doing 18 other things than what I sat down to do.
I know.
It's horrible. That's life. Or so they say. So, yeah. That's kind of our 2020 in a nutshell. And for you and your family, I hope it was well. Hopefully 2021, we'll see. I have some goals for 2021. And they're big. And why not? I don't remember who it was that told me that you gotta have big goals, otherwise, like, what are you gonna do? And I think it was Steve Harvey's book, Jump, that I read, and he said, well, ask God for the big things. Like when you pray for big things. Don't just pray that, hey, this or that. No, pray that you want, this and that. And if you keep praying for little things all the time, well, then good, settle for little things. But you want big things, well, pray for big things. What do you want? Ask God. He'll give it to you. Now, he doesn't just show up at your house like an Amazon box and say, hey, here you go. Here's all the things you wanted. He'll put people in situations right in front of you. And if you're doing the right thing, if you're not drinking, if you're not using drugs, it'll be a lot easier to see. And you keep adding those decisions up over 365 days, you'll be amazed. Like just one little yes or one little answer in an email one day, it could set something up for 2 weeks, 3 months from now. Who knows? And you didn't think you did anything that day. Now, I go to bed all the time sometimes. I'm just like, I didn't do anything today. Or maybe I had answered an email from Kate at Hope Not Handcuffs, and maybe that was way more important than I thought it was. And even though I felt that day, I didn't do anything, we didn't move forward, I don't know. No, I did something that day. I didn't know at the time that just answering an email or, sending someone a letter was going to propel me even further. I did. And it's just that doing the right thing. And the fact that I didn't drink or use any drugs or anything along the way is a huge part of that.
Right. And when you talk about, taking leaps of faith and, kind of just like following your dreams, and you did take a big chance, but you keep moving forward. You have to put the work in. Like you're saying, the Amazon box is not going to show up and be like, ta-da, there you go. Same thing as recovery, you know what I mean? You consistently have to put your work in for it every day. And, but living the life is amazing. And so the benefits that you get back are, billionfold. So yeah, just trust, but also, put your work into the decisions that you are doing to make the next right decision, to work to make the next right move. And you'll get there and things will start happening for you. And like you said, presenting themselves, and we're sober and can recognize those and scoop them up and put those into motion. And then the next thing happens and the next thing happens. And it's all of a sudden you're like, wow, how did I get here? This is awesome. So yeah, trust.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. But it's better than doubt. When I would be stuck in that moment of, I don't really want to go back to school. I want to go back into radio, but I don't want to move again. Where am I going to go? There was such doubt, and I don't really want to do this. I don't want to do that. And I found myself doing all the things I didn't really want to do, and I wasn't doing them for myself. I don't know what I was doing them for. just going through the motions of maybe for what other people thought I should be doing. But I think, going to a sober living home after treatment was a huge part of me separating myself from the codependence that I had on other people and my family, that people that I knew, oh, they'll take care of me. I could stay there. To step outside that comfort zone and go, no, I have to do this on my own. And yeah, I have had help along the way, for sure, but it was different help. It wasn't like, oh, I have nothing else, you have to help me. It was more like they want to help me. Mm-hmm. So me going to that sober living home and just realizing, okay, what do I want to do? I want to start this business, and I started it and I did this and that. And then I got a great job at Hearthside Grove in Petoskey. It's an RV resort. Awesome job. It was so awesome. Like I would just go do that in the summer anyway. It was so much fun. And the Rose brothers who own it are just amazing people. Kirk is an amazing guy. I mean, just the best boss ever, really. And, having that, just to kind of, a job, having a job was nice. And he knew too, and he would give me time off to go when we went to the UFAM rally in Lansing. It's a big recovery rally. He knew, hey, go, and to take trainings and recovery coach and become a recovery ambassador, hey, yeah, take that off, man. Fine. It's good. Do your thing. So it was very cool. And he knew, that I didn't want to work there forever. And it was kind of a seasonal job, but at the same time, it really helped me kind of focus myself and realize, okay, what do I want to be doing and what am I doing right now today? Sometimes you have to do that, but at least make sure that you're comfortable in what you're doing today as you keep focused on what you want long-term down the road, the goals that you have for yourself. Like if you're working, for instance, in, say you work at a tire company, just throwing that out there, and you realize I'm just not happy here anymore, and this is driving me to the same place where I was before, then it's not worth it.
Right.
There are tons of other jobs out there. There are so many other opportunities out there that might not even open up yet, but just knowing that you can have faith and go, I'll be fine, as long as I'm sober. People like me. I'm a good dude or woman. Maybe it's a woman that works at a tire place. But, to realize that, okay, this isn't me. This isn't what I want. It's huge. And it takes a huge cojones to step away from something that pays you well, but is keeping you stuck. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier with, the treatment center that I worked at. I mean, it wasn't really paying me well, but to just step away from something that I could have had a bigger role in that company, but I just was like, like that's not what I want. And, it goes the same for the, gentleman or woman working at the tire company that realizes this isn't what I want. And, to stay stuck in that situation and say they got 5 months sober, and they're like, oh man, like this is just that's when you're hitting the wall. Everything's feeling the same. You're feeling miserable. Oh, nothing's changing. Nothing's getting better. You're doing the same things over and over every day. How would you expect them to get better?
Right.
Are you going to have a different kind of cereal the next day? I mean, how are you mixing things up? What are you doing to be proactive about what you want in life? And sometimes it's hard. What do you want in life? I don't know. Well, make a list. Write a list. 5 things. What do you want in the next year? In 2021, 5 things. What do you want to happen? Write it down.
And do things that make you happy and be around people that make you happy.
That's it. There you go. Solved it. No,
if
but
only it was so easy.
But no, it'll help for sure. I guarantee you, it'll help more than it'll hurt you. Write that down. 5 things, and see you next year if you don't have those 5 things. And write how you're going to get them. You want a boat? Okay, how are you going to buy a boat? I don't want a boat. I'm not a big water guy.
Okay.
So many bugs out there, and water and fish. Ooh. But I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. How are you going to get it? What kind of boat you want? Are you going to save up, or you going to sell stuff. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Just make the list. You'll understand what I'm talking about.
Right.
You'll work towards it for sure.
Yeah.
And even if you don't accomplish everything on the list, you can keep working towards it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've accomplished everything. We got married on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was from 2019. And I have to find that list. It's framed somewhere. I just don't know where it's at.
Okay. We'll look for it.
Okay. But anyway, do you want to ring in the new year?
Sure. Let's do it. We're watching the ball drop.
Eventually, maybe. I don't know. Or we'll just go to sleep because we're old. But I don't know. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
No, just, I mean, I'll say that I'm looking forward to 2021.
Me too.
So, you know, and sometimes I do feel like I'm bragging because I did have a great last year, but, you know, at the same time did have my challenges like I talked about, but, I'm grateful, and, everybody just take time to reflect on the good things that have happened to you. If you're sober today, right there, that's a blessing. Nice. Yeah, give yourself some credit for that. Every day is a blessing when you're working, towards, you know, living a life of recovery, and proud of everyone who's doing that daily basis. One day, 1 year, 1,000,000 years, you know, keep on keeping on. But yeah, here's to 2021.
Cool. And shout out Thursday. 3 names. Shout out to George.
Okay. Shout out to Kelly.
Shout out to Allison.
Shout out to Roberta.
Shout out to Adam.
Shout out to Nicole.
All Adams.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
See ya. Oh, 217recovery.com is where the voting video is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll give you a hint. If you go to 217recovery.com/wedding,
It'll be there.
Find it.
All right.
But, I don't know. It depends on when you're going to listen to this podcast. If you're listening to it and it's like the first or second, it might be there. But if you listen to this on New Year's Eve, not going to be there.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. But appreciate it, and have a happy rest of your 2020. And hey, if you're listening, it's 2021 already. Happy New Year.
That's right. Happy New Year.